For this salad today, I'm going to prep this bread by making some croutons. So I'm heating up a quarter cup of olive oil in a 12-inch pan, and I'm going to dice this up and just toss it up, toast it in that pan with salt and pepper. Okay, so it's all diced up, and that looks pretty good. So let's add in the bread. And I'm using a sourdough. You can use any kind of rustic bread. Oops. Cut. I just added some salt and pepper. These have been going for about 3 minutes, and I just tossed them a little bit more. Okay, those are toasting slash burning up nicely. I'm just going to take those off. Okay, so this is the salad portion of the Greek Panzanella. Again, another Ina Garten recipe that I'm just probably kind of butchering, but basically you need a red and yellow pepper, cucumber. We're going to take some of these tomatoes and slice them up, as well as red onion, and then you're going to need some red wine vinegar, garlic, oregano, Dijon mustard. It calls for a feta chunk of cheese that you can dice. I'm just using what I have, which is the crumbles, and then the Kalamata olives. You want to get those pitted, or purchase them pitted. You don't want to pit them. I've already made the breadcrumbs, and we're just going to start slicing up everything and putting it together. Okay, so I have a really large red onion, so I'm just going to cut about 4 slices. It also just calls for a small red onion, and just have the rounds. But I don't really like eating a whole onion, and I'm also serving this to my daughter, so I like to just take out the center part and then just take these sides here. I'm going to add that to all the produce that I've already washed and sliced up. Okay, so I washed all the produce, diced it all up with the red pepper, yellow pepper. I halved the cucumber, and then I sliced that up as well. Have the cherry tomatoes, and then there are the onions. I didn't put too many in, and now I'm just going to put that in a large bowl, and I'm going to mix it all up. Okay, so for the vinaigrette, in a small bowl, I'm just going to have minced 2 cloves of garlic, and I put in a quarter cup of red wine vinegar, a teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of mustard, Dijon mustard, get that in there. And then I'm going to add in some salt and pepper as well. It calls for a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper, and then I'm just going to whisk them together. And then once I finish whisking, I'm going to take half a cup of olive oil and add that in as I'm whisking. And there you go, that's the half a cup of olive oil added. And then over to the vegetable oil bowl here, I'm going to add the feta, the olives, and the bread. And then I'm going to add the vinaigrette and toss it up. Okay, so I added the feta, the olives, and the bread. Called for half a cup of olives, and again with the feta, it's supposed to be half a pound, and then like you cut up into like little 1/4 inch blocks. But I just put in what I thought looked pretty, and now. I have the, whoops, I almost poured it over the counter. The dressing I'm just going to put in, and actually I'm going to scrape that out, and then toss it up. I scraped in the last of that dressing, and then I'm just going to toss it. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And I'm going to let that dressing just kind of work in with the, kind of soften the breadcrumbs. And it's good to start this recipe about, to give you extra time, because it does suggest to let it sit for a half hour before serving. But I already had, I was already fending off the kid who came down to see what was cooking. So, that's pretty much it, and I'm going to let that sit for a little bit, and then we'll have lunch here in a few minutes. Okay, so I let that sit for about 30 minutes, and all of that dressing kind of soaked into the bread, and there you go. It's kind of a Greek salad, Greek Panzanella, and lunch is served.